39. Okay, yes, he's coming up to the Saturn opposition, right? So he gets the conjunction, then the Saturn opposition. Saturn opposition is just the midlife point. What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? He's been through it once. He's going through it again. So like he had it in his teenage years. He got it again in his 40s. So he's making his goals. It's not so easy. There's some adjustments to be made, but there's still some skills to be had. Maybe he's putting a new band or new thing together, and or maybe he's going with the astrology more. Maybe he's working the two and building them up. And there's still some work to be done with Saturn going through the 6th house. So this is what he needs to know. This phase, you'll be talking to him, and you'll be talking what happened there, where are you going, what's happening, what are you working with, what are you trying to work together, here's where you have to make the commitment by, here's how you have to keep going, keep adding things. And by the time it gets to the descendant in 26, you'll start to be recognized as planets as Saturn goes above the horizon. As you start to get recognized, it'll make more demands on your time, but it'll build you up to the peak of your status in 2032. So that's a young guy, so these charts are going up beyond my life. But you can see he's building up to the next peak of status. So he's in good position to set another band up, set a group up, start a business, set something up and going. And get it going, have other people involved with it, and work through it and tighten it up, and then really work with it over as Saturn goes above the horizon. And it's 15, he's coming up to the opposition. He's far away from the Saturn return. He's going through the 6th house of improvement, not the 12th house of finishing things. So he's going to be making his decisions, making commitments, and then trying to improve or work on it or extend from it. Okay, so if you look at the chart, you see Saturn is down here in Capricorn the 5th. It's moving up through Aquarius. By the time it gets to the Aquarius, it'll hit the sun and make the decisions, goes through the 6th house, comes up towards the center, and then he has to put it out in the world again. And he will, because his sign, even though he's an I mean person, his signs that want to do things for others. He wants to be noticed. So he wants to do the perfect band or do something that people are going to like his performance, like what he did. He's got this special album or special show to put on. Even as an astrologer, he might have a special book to put together. But he's taking the things he knows and what motivates him, and he's going to be making commitments around it. They're going to start affecting his goals and determining where his future is by 2023, which is in 3 years. Well, a little more than 3 years, but not much more than 3 years. Okay, so we got the main picture of where he is. Now we want to look at the 8-year graph and see how he's got to where he is. So normally, when I'm doing a client where 2018 is, that's I put the year that we're doing this, but we did this for the transit class, so we're in 2019 now, so we're going back the 4 years and ahead 3 years, like it's a little bit far, but it's still viable to work with. So as Pluto, 2015, Pluto is conjunct his Venus. He's challenged. He's born with Pluto square to Venus, and it came up to transit to conjunct his Venus. So this is a big thing about style, taste. Am I good enough? What am I doing? It's on that wave he put his band together, and got good enough to come across to come to North America and play it. Like he had big things going on. It took money, it took commitment, and maybe it was perhaps he had to invest in it, and he did it. But after that, the Pluto has not been an issue. But in 2022, Pluto will start to square his moon. And when it squares his moon up in 2022, there'd be a challenge about home life habits. So I know he went back to Pakistan, and maybe he's using Pakistan as his base. Maybe he's forced to change or move or be more traveling, or maybe something happens with family, he has to be working with family. But there's a confrontation with possible health or possible family. That's due in 2022, just before he makes decisions about what he's got to do. Okay. His Mercury, back when in 2014, 15, Pluto was on his Venus, but Neptune was on his Mercury, so his imagination, his thoughts were dreaming. Like you can see the visionary seeing the band, saying we could do this and setting it up and setting the tour up. And now there's no more deceptive or Neptune things. He's had the vision, he's going to keep going on it. But at the same time, when we go down and look at Uranus, just a step at a time. Like you think, but I'm just going through this a little fast. Normally I'd be stopping and contemplating this a little bit more, a little bit longer. And you do it at your convenient time, but we're working through these. So we saw 2015, a pivotal year. And in 2015, Uranus squared to Venus. So 2014 and 15, Uranus was square as Venus. So he was very insecure emotionally and financially. Maybe he had a heartbreak, maybe he had a big loss, maybe something fell apart, maybe a band fell apart. He just got a vision and put things together, put a new band together, or decided to go on tour, or do something, or maybe just make the investment and do it anyways. But it came out of big losses or big shocks. So that's a powerful thing. Pluto on the Venus, I got to do this. Mercury, the vision. Uranus was the insecurity around finance, but as he started going, as he got into 2015, that insecurity would be lifting. It was behind him. He got out of there. I don't have to put up with it. And he started doing things, started moving forward. Okay, by 2017, somewhere in here he came to see me, and Uranus then opposed his moon, 2017, 2018, even into 2019. Now, Uranus opposing his moon, it's going to, yeah, his moon's in the second house, so it might oppose his financing, but really it could mean he's moving a lot, or there's disruptions or insecurity with mom, or some disruptions to the family keep upsetting him, like, can I live here? Can I be here? Can I be there? There's insecurities and shocks coming up where he lives, and changes to his habits because of this. Like shocking changes, like shocks to his feelings. His moon in Libra, want to be shared, want to be that. It could be a relationship challenged, or I'm not sure where it would come, but the Uranus certainly comes, it hasn't been there, but it was there from the starting of the astrology classes during this whole time. So maybe he was studying astrology, and the parents and the mom or parents might have been thinking, what are you doing? That would have been this whole webinar series. But he was learning astrology during this whole webinar series. So this is something else around where he's living or whatever. I know recently I saw pictures of him on Facebook where he was traveling, and he was in Indonesia, and it was a great trip. So he was doing having some good times. But you look back, and those were very insecure times. It could be health problems, could be stomach problems with Uranus hitting the moon. So insecurities about anything being close to him or where stable. So that's changed. Now there's no more shocks, no more big shocks coming up for the next 3 or 4 years. So he's got a straight run. Neptune, Uranus, Pluto. Pluto will hit the moon, but there's not really much else going to be coming in over the next 3-4 years till Saturn conjuncts the Sun in 2023. So then we come back to our Saturn cycle. Once you got these things organized, this is the fun part, this is the beautiful part, because we took the time to make the graphics, we have the graphs, we just go back and we just walk through it and work it. It's all set up for you. It makes it easy to read, to see where someone is, what someone's going through, and to be able to imagine. You may not know the specific thing because we have a cow picture of a person, but you know what's going on, and then you just have to find how he's experiencing it, and then you can start going from the past, how it got to here, and see where he's going from here. We know from the Saturn, which is where you get all your responsible advice from. No matter what happens with the other planets, you got to get back on track with your Saturn as best you can. So he's on track to Saturn conjuncting his Sun, defining his goals. That's a big deal. He's been motivated. So okay, here we go. Saturn back in 2015 was squaring his Mercury and his Sun. So just when he was getting all the visions and the power things, I got to do this, there was a sort of worrisome side. He made commitments, serious commitments, maybe costly commitments. But he did the band, he came, but then he was up here. Then I'm not sure if the band held together. Maybe he went back home and it changed. And this was 2017, so it might be struggles in getting the next band or whatever business together. But Saturn was opposing the MC, conjunct the squaring the ascendant, but this is hitting the IC. This is the motivation point. So this whole motivation point, he was studying astrology. That's powerful. That's a powerful influence of astrology coming in. And that may have been what triggered off the opposition to the moon. The parents may not have thought it was the best interest for him. Of course, if they think that, that's going to make him want to do it more strongly. But then 2018, not such a big hassle. 29th, Saturn's conjuncting the Venus. So it's like worry about money, but it's I have to make decisions about what I have, what am I going to use, how am I going to use my money. He's making his plans around his finances. So he's serious. So up there, then in 2020, Saturn's going to square his moon. So that might be struggles with worry living, problems with mom. It's probably tied to he started the astrology. Maybe the family didn't want it. All of a sudden, maybe they're putting pressure. Where's my grandkids or what? I don't know if he has kids. I have a feeling he doesn't, but maybe, I don't know. If a family came in, that would bring the moon stuff in. But still, this is 2020. So those are a few, those things hit for, the square of the moon hits for about a month and a half. March, June, July, and November, December. Where there's some worries about health, family, mom, something like that. Comes in, okay, you're going to go through that anyway, so dealable. All the other things are there, but there's just some basic factor having to be taken care of. Then 2021, there's no outer planet aspects. There's a clear run in 2021, and it leads up to the conjunction to the Mars, and then working towards something which builds up to the conjunction to Saturn, to the Sun, where he decides his goal. So you can see him. There's some delays, some restrictions from home, from where he's living, but he's already decided what he wants to do. Saturn and Venus. He's decided what he wants. He's starting to work towards it. There's some interference. That means he's going to have to change his lifestyle a bit to do it, make the effort. Maybe he's just having to rehearse or practice a lot more during this time period. But then it starts to pay off. And things, when Saturn hits the Mars, hits the Sun, those are constructive things, and he can start making use of the things. If he's been studying and he's been building up during this time, that's good. If he's walked away, I don't think he's walked away from because he's kept through the classes. So it's more a question of how he integrates it. Maybe it comes together and comes out through songs or that. You know, like he's able to write a whole different type of songs or different type of ideas about time, faith, astrology. It would be interesting. So this is coming up. So this is basically how you're going to advise him up to that Saturn conjuncting his Sun, and getting skills together and making them better and better so they can be useful to other people, and then starting to get more applause and reaction building up to the midheaven. Okay, so that's basically the transit. So as we're gonna go to progressions, you're going to see automatically his progressed Sun is going to go up over. His progressed Sun is now above the descendant. It's in the 7th house, moving up. It's going to move. It may never get. It won't get to his midheaven. It's moving up his life. So his emphasis to be more and more involved with other people. So it's possible the Saturn who might be pressured to get married, or maybe he got married, or maybe some of that relationship side of things came in, or maybe it was kids. I'm not sure. Like, but you can see there's the Saturn was the pressure, but it's not extreme. It's dealable stuff. Saturn's dealable, right? It's not. There's no bigger extreme from the next big, and the other planets. You're lucky if you get 5 or 6 years where there's no outer planets, and this whole time he doesn't have it. Since he's had his mental vision of things back in the 15s, he's not been deceived or confused about there's not deception or confusion hitting him.